Sober ladies, thank you so much for joining me today for another video. We are going to be talking today about shame and guilt and how that shows up for us even in recovery. Very often it is something that we talk about in relation to like our past or certain behaviors, but as we're going to discover, it is something that can show up even in recovery really at any time, and often it's extremely subtle. So, how do you know you have shame? So, right off the bat, I want to talk about what shame is. Shame can be defined as a feeling of embarrassment or humiliation that arises in reaction to the perception of having done something dishonorable or immoral or improper. So it's sort of the result of doing something wrong or your perception that you've done something wrong. And here's the funny thing, while shame is a negative emotion, it also plays a role in the survival of the human race, which I know seems a little contradictory, so I want to explain it further. Shame is an evolutionary tool that actually helps us to stay on the path in our society. Because without it, you might not feel the need to adhere to certain societal norms or obey the law or function as a social being. In research done by Joseph Burgo in his book titled Shame, he learned that much of history, shame has been a force for good. We developed these feelings when literal survival depended on close cohesiveness and adherence to behavior. So when people violated these rules, there would be shame. And then therefore, the fear of that pain encouraged members to follow along with the rules, right? Or the societal norms and really work together for the good of their community. But then shame can become problematic in the form that we more traditionally know it as when the feelings become internalized as the result of negative and harsh evaluation of oneself as a person. Your own personal critic, that internal dialogue, that negative self-talk, is telling you things like you're bad, you are worthless, you aren't valuable, and on and on. And this is not to be confused with the concept of guilt, right? Because we know that guilt and shame, although similar, are different. And Brene Brown shares in her work that guilt is the concept that I did something bad, and shame is I am bad. So I hope you can kind of see the difference there and why we're sort of making that distinction. They are two distinct things, but they do kind of run in the same family. So you might already be identifying this in yourself just by listening to me share about it a little bit. But in case you're wondering how shame shows up, here are a few signs that you're experiencing shame. Feeling unappreciated, feeling rejected, feeling like you have little value, or being worried about what other people think of you, not sharing your feelings because you're afraid to be embarrassed, being a perfectionist, losing your identity, and the list could literally go on and on. Very likely because you've been sober for a little while, or maybe you've been sober for many years, these feelings might have subsided a little bit, right? Because generally when we get sober, things do get a lot better. And that is a true blessing of recovery. However, I found that no matter how long you stay sober, that there are new areas where these types of feelings tend to crop up. And often they are very subtle. There might be some behaviors that you do as a result of shame and you just haven't quite identified them yet. This could look like lashing out or attacking other people when you feel ashamed or defensive. It might be avoiding this being the center of attention or not sharing your feelings about certain things because of fear. Or maybe you struggle with over apologizing. This is a really big problem for many women. We tend to want to constantly say, I'm sorry, or over explain. This can be a result of shame, or being overly emotional and avoiding conflict. This can affect areas of your life, particularly your personal, interpersonal relationships, and also your professional life. If you struggle with conflict or speaking up for yourself, you run the risk of being taken advantage of and not getting or doing the things that you really want. Or at work, maybe you want to get a certain promotion or a certain project and you get overlooked because of the you get overlooked for those opportunities because you were afraid to share your thoughts or maybe speak up about ideas you had. You were too worried about failing, or maybe you have performance anxiety. In another video, we're going to get into some of the causes of shame, as well as specific ways to heal it and rewrite your story and take responsibility for that. But for now, I want you to really take some time to review the symptoms and behaviors that I've just shared with you today. Can you really relate to any of them? When I was talking, did anything in particular resonate with you? Did you feel something in your body kind of light up as I was talking? Take a quick inventory of your own negative thought patterns. What are they and when do they happen? If you really want to dive into this, check out the 5-day negative thinking challenge in the guide section of the Confident Sober Women Facebook group, which is where this video is right now. I'll share the link below so you can reach it more accessibly, but that guide section has a ton of value and the negative thinking challenge is just one of them. But it's going to help you really take an inventory of your particular negative thought patterns and then begin to unpack how we can use that to rewrite your story and reframe those negative thoughts into much more positive ones. I want you to understand your negative behaviors as well. What are the most common reactions that you have? What do other people in your life tell you about your responses to situations? These are going to be clues to where shame is hiding in your life. And once we can identify it, then we can heal it. In the next video, I'm going to share 5 ways to heal shame. So I want you to be with me and not miss it, because we are going to undo this together so you can begin to heal your shame.